WA election, of course, on the weekend. We have votes, I should say, continue to be counted. It is a little bit of a slow process. So where are we at right now? If we take a look at what was needed, of course, on the night, it was meant to be a huge swing if we were going to see the Liberal and National parties win. That was never going to happen. You could see Labor started at 69.7%. As it goes, we're seeing a swing of about 12.7%, so about halfway to what they needed, and really still a long way at 57% or so off the pace, even for the next election. How that's played out in terms of the House, this is where we're at right now. So Labor has won 41, 6 to the Liberals and Nationals, still 8 seats up for grabs as well. So these are the closer contests that remain. So if we think of the Liberal Nationals at the moment, on that 10, how much higher are they going to climb? They should get Kalamunda. It's a slight lead, but the remaining vote is relatively friendly towards them. I'll just go to the second page and say they should also get Warren Blackwood and also Murray Wellington. So that gets them up to 13. What other seats would they win out of these? Essentially, these other 4, whilst they're tight, the vote left is not all that friendly to the Liberal or National Party. So it's unlikely they'll get those, but it's a distinct possibility depending on preference flow. Essentially, they need a better preference flow than has been predicted so far. So maybe they get 1 or 2 more of them. That means they get to about 15 or so, which still, compared to the Labor Party, 15 versus 45 is a shellacking at this election. If we have a look at the other quite interesting seat still remaining, if you like, it's a Teal that's actually trying to win it off Labor, which we haven't seen before, obviously federally, also nationally. The seat is Fremantle. As you can see here, the primary result has been a big swing. So previously, Simone McGurk was getting more than 50% of the vote in her own right, 20% swing against. We're seeing 28.75% for Kate Hewlett. She will get some help from the Greens. So how this is playing out right now, two-party preferred, that might look safe, but this is just a predicted preference distribution. That could easily be different, and indeed Labor insiders are suggesting she still could be okay, Simone McGurk, but this would be the first time we actually saw a so-called Teal or Climate 200-backed independent win off Labor. What about that federal election? Well, this is what's interesting about this. Let's go to inner city first of all. So the seat of Moore, held by the Liberal Party, you can see the average swings towards the Liberal Party here. Pretty decent, 12, 8, 13. When you go further out and we get to Pearce, these are the same swings. They're the negative. They're against the Labor Party, even bigger, 15, 17, 19. And the general story here, the further out you've gone, if we go back to the map here, the further out from there you've gone, the bigger the swing has been. So that, while the overall result will give plenty of confidence for Anthony Albanese, given WA is a stronghold, it will also give some confidence within the Liberal camp of franking the so-called outer suburban trend, or the one they're trying to pick up more seats in the outer suburbs, especially those doing it really tough when it comes to mortgages. All right, joining me live now, the Assistant Minister to the Prime Minister, Patrick Gorman, and former Liberal MP Jason Falinski to talk through all of this. Patrick, what do you think of the sort of outer suburban swing? It was bigger the further out that you travelled, essentially. Is that a bit of a lesson for Labor? How do you counter that coming to the federal election?
Well, Tom, I think we knew that the result in 2021 was an extraordinary result for Mark McGowan. And indeed, what we've got on Saturday was an extraordinary result for Roger Cook and his team. They have won at least 41, and it looks like it will be a few more seats. I mean, that is an incredible result for a third-term government. Now, if I think about what I've heard from some of the Liberals, and I see Andrew Hastie has been out in the media today saying, oh, the Liberal Party is too obsessed with inner suburban electorates. I mean, well, what is he saying? He's going to give up on some of those places. He's going to give up on some of the seats that, like the one that Jason used to represent that was on the coast. I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of infighting from the Liberal Party over the days ahead. And if I look at the data that you just shared with us in terms of Swan Hills still a 6% Labor seat. I don't know where the Liberal Party is taking comfort in all of that. These are extraordinary results for Roger Cook and his team, and also shows that local members who put in the effort make a difference. Whereas you've got Shadow Defence Minister Andrew Hastie wanting to wave the white flag and give up on a bunch of electorates. Pathetic.
Jason, what do you make of that city outer suburban, I suppose, internal debate that's going on? Not even the high-profile Basil Zempler's got a big swing. It looks like he'll...
Sorry, did you say did get a big swing, Tom? Or
He won't get a big swing. He's going to get a swing of about 4 or 5%, and as a result, he'll squeak over the line, is what I said.
So I thought Patrick was going to say something.
Cue, Jason.
Look, firstly, I
you
think,
just said tiny.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Okay. So, first things first. Patrick, who clearly was the mastermind of this campaign, deserves great credit. Roger Cook did an excellent job on Patrick's plan, and it all came together on the night. So congratulations to Patrick. Secondly, look, after May 22, what was very clear to me, and I think to a lot of others who lost their seats, was that the Liberal Party needed to focus on working class Australians who have aspirations for the future. What has occurred in WA is that hasn't happened. I don't know why Andrew would say what he was saying about people being obsessed about inner city seats. I don't think it's about geography. I think it's about the voter that the Liberal Party is trying, or the Australian that the Liberal Party is trying to focus on, and what sort of future we want for Australia. And if that's a better, more prosperous future, then that means that we represent aspirational Australians. And I think that message didn't get through in Western Australia on the weekend. But has inner city become a dirty word for some Liberals, and that's a matter of great disappointment.
It seems to be the case.
Well, Tom, you're saying that. I just say to people who say, we can ignore a certain class of Australians. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with Patrick. I mean, what pathway are they suggesting there is for us to form government, not just in Western Australia, but across Australia? We need to represent all Australians, regardless of where they live. And I think it's a bit convenient for some members of the Liberal Party who happen not to live in the inner city to say, we can ignore those people. I mean, it seems self-defeating to me, but maybe I'm wrong.
All right. You're agreeing with Patrick now. I'm sure we'll career downhill soon enough on that front. Patrick, what have you made of Fremantle? Tell me about the pronunciation. My old man's always said Fremantle, which sort of makes sense to me, but you can correct him or me, your choice. But this is, now we're seeing a Climate 200-backed candidate actually go after Labor. Is this what you're worried about in the future? Because they've basically just targeted the Libs so far.
Well, let me just correct a few things for your viewers, and then we'll get into the analysis of the seat of Fremantle. Firstly, the pronunciation is Fremantle. I grew up there, so I would hope that I know. Secondly, when it comes to the excellent campaign that WA Labor ran, culminating on an excellent result on Saturday night, I want to give due credit to Ellie Whittaker as the party campaign director here in WA. Her, Lauren Cayune and the team have done an excellent job, and full credit to them. Now, when it comes to what we're seeing in Fremantle, what we are seeing is obviously Climate 200 broadening where they're choosing to put their money. The mastermind of this campaign was someone who's been deeply involved in some very divisive protests in my electorate, where they blockaded roads to hospitals, blockaded roads to the Perth Children's Hospital, denying people access to medical care in previous years. And that was the mastermind behind this campaign in Fremantle. So I think the more that people see, the more questions they'll have. I'm definitely not giving up on Labor's chances of holding on to that seat. There's a full preference distribution happening right now with the Under Siege Electoral Commission. But I'm hopeful that Simone McGurk, who I spoke to yesterday, I'm hopeful that she can get over the line. She's been an excellent minister. She's a great person to represent the people of Fremantle, and I hope that's the conclusion that those constituents make as well.
I'm always loath to criticise electoral commissions in my line of work, so I'll just say they seem to be taking a slow and steady wins the race approach. Jason, you have spoken about this, 11,000 times. The Climate 200 mob, they're targeting Labor now. You must be saying, great, all right, everything's fine now, all fair in love and war.
Tom, can I just commend Patrick on his humility, refusing to claim any responsibility in this great victory.
You guys will go back on
that's what I love about him most.
Let's just say he was great. Move on.
But the thing that I think there are a lot of local factors in Fremantle and that particular seat. I know that the Labor Party for quite some time have enjoyed watching the Teals spend millions upon millions of dollars in particular seats. They've enjoyed the fact that there has been little scrutiny of the TILs, which, frankly, the Canberra Press Gallery should really have a hard look in the mirror about why that has been the case. And I think now that they've decided to go after the Labor Party, although I suspect that this is a one-off, that might change. And that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that everyone who seeks office is properly scrutinised, and that hasn't been the case when it has come to Climate 200 and their candidates.
All right, let me ask you, while you're on a roll, Jason, insurance. I'm trying to figure out what your side of politics is actually going to do here. Divestment, is that something you'd be okay with as your classic small L Liberal of the insurance companies?
I think you're talking about free market economics, Tom, and no, we're not okay with divestment. It's an idea that really I don't think has proven to work anywhere in the world. The threat of divestment has often worked, but the actuality of making large corporates divest things has proven to be disastrous.
But if you threaten it and you never believe in it, you're not going to do it. Then the threat doesn't work, does it?
Yeah, it's a bit like Donald Trump's tariffs. Observed more in the breach than in the observance. So, you know, at some point someone says, listen, this is just Chicken Little, the sky isn't falling. But it's not good economic policy, to be blunt. However, some have said in the past that threatening it does get companies to pull their heads in and to think more carefully about how they service their customers. It's nothing compared to, however, the threat of competition.
Yeah, I must say my 5-year-old saw through me a long time ago. We won't go to that birthday party. She figured out it was the hollowest of threats because I'm the soft one. Patrick, what do you make of it? You don't have to comment on my poor parenting, but what do you make of insurance companies? We've had a bit of a threat from Anthony Albanese today.
Well, what I think is obviously we want to see right now insurance companies doing the right thing by their customers. And that's what I want to see right now. What it tells me a lot about the problem with the Liberal National Coalition, which doesn't work, it is a dysfunctional arrangement, is that we've seen that in Western Australia. They spent all their time fighting amongst themselves and they got a result where the people figured that out, that they don't want to see coalitions fighting amongst themselves. And now today, rather than focusing on just the immediate things that are needed, getting insurers to put money out the door to support their customers, the Liberal Party and the National Party have started sort of round 4 of their fight on divestment powers. Now, that's a policy debate that they've been having for about a year now. I think we first saw it in the aftermath of the budget last year. I think they need to actually sort out what is it that they're going to do rather than giving people false hope, and also focus on the here and now. Right now, they should be doing what we're doing, which is telling insurance companies across Australia, do the right thing by your customers, give them the support they need.
So they should just be saying naughty and waving their finger. That's what they should be doing.
Well, no, I expect that insurance companies will listen. I expect that they will do the right thing by their customers and provide support. We're doing everything we can to provide support for local government areas that are affected. We've taken that responsibility really seriously. The Liberal Party and the National Party have descended to the only thing they know how to do well, which is to continue infighting.
Okay. Sounds to me like you might end up doing the same thing.
Tom,
say some words and let people listen. I'm so far over.
Tom,
10 seconds, Jason, or I'll be booted. What do you got?
The problem with all of this is the insurance companies have been doing the right thing. The people who haven't been doing the right thing are the local, state and federal governments. Some of those houses were rebuilt in May 22 by insurance companies. Some of them haven't even been finished yet and will be rebuilt again by insurance companies. So instead of governments doing the right thing and getting people to relocate to areas that don't flood, it's insurance companies and their customers that are bearing the costs in terms of
Okay, that's a whole other debate, a worthy one, but one we don't have time for today. Jason, Patrick, thank you. We will talk next week.
Thank you.
Breaking news that's just come in.